In the last lecture, I tried to give you a sense of the extent to which the Battle of Verdun serves as the focal point of memory in the German mind, and particularly in the French mind. For the British, it's the Battle of the Somme, the Great Summer Offensive of 1916. Now, 2 years ago, when I first prepared this course in its traditional format, I held the standard view of the Battle of the Somme. It was the case of lions being led by donkeys. So where the thoughtless and heartless British higher command were feeding innocent men into the maw of death, charging machine guns, the death of millions. One thing that, and we still see some of that, but one thing that really surprised me as I began to research the battle and the preparations for the battle was, number one, the extent to which it was part of a well thought through joint campaign by the British and the French. It was going to commence in August of 1916 after an enormous buildup. The men were trained with practice trenches, how to cross open fields, how to engage the enemy, how to move from trench line to trench line. The men were prepared, new weapons, new trench mortars were invented, new hand explosive devices, hand grenades were changed. So it was a very conscious understanding of this is trench warfare and this is how we get around it was at work. Also, there was extensive aerial reconnaissance of the German lines so that both the high command and field commanders and junior officers knew what they were coming up against and how their men had to move. So things were exceedingly well planned. And they chose not a stupid place in the German line to do this. As I said, the offensive was planned for the beginning of August. Because of the pressure of Verdun, it was brought forward to the great dismay of Sir Douglas Haig, the commander of the British forces, was brought forward to the 1st of July. The men were not complete, in Haig's mind, not completely trained, not completely prepared, and there wasn't as much French support as one might have had. And as you look at the unit stories, at the war unit diaries, and as you look at what happens day by day and hour by hour, the higher command was not entirely unresponsive, and they were trying to find a way to effectuate the breakthrough. Unfortunately, there was, we'll do this, and now we'll try that, and now we'll try that, and it became one big, terrible meat grinder. It was for the British, but for the Germans as well. So you realize, think about this. Verdun is a meat grinder for the French. The Somme is a meat grinder for the English. And the Germans get tore up in both of them. Now, the Germans were able to seal off the line whenever there was a partial breakthrough. The Germans were able to move their men quickly and seal off the line and keep and prevent a British breakthrough. There were small theater gains. It was just, it did not work. So I think this is really curious. One thing you might wonder, well, why did, since this didn't work, why were the generals kept in charge? One thing that seems to me, again, reading on it, is that Haig really enjoyed, in the fights within the British High Command, Haig really enjoyed the support of George V. Okay. We don't like to think of, or usually think of, the monarch as playing a role, but the monarch did have a bit of a military role, and the fact that he was attached to Haig and thought Haig's plan ultimately would be good eventually carried the day. The Somme will, for the British, become that pivotal moment in the battle, especially after the war, as people look back and as anti-war feelings grow And as the war became more popular, more unpopular, people will look at the Somme and say, it's also really the cradle out of which the great war poets come. And so much of the British understanding of the First World War comes from the cultural creation that took place around the Battle of the Somme. Quite interesting. Thank you.